Hey everyone. Do you remember, or do you know who Keith Raniere and NXIVM is? Remember that cult that came around? It grabbed some really high profile people, made women into sex slaves for Keith Raniere. Um, it took down the girl that was in Smallville, the actress, took down the Seagram's mistress. And it really took advantage of these people, these women, sex slaves. You know, it's not that these women that followed Keith Raniere were weak. It's that they were looking for something, looking for self-help, looking for a way to better their lives. We've seen other cults that have done this. For those who remember Heaven's Gate, looking for a way to heaven. For those who remember, the guy in Texas where the FBI assaulted that compound. I can't remember his name. They were taken in by his charm, who had who seemed like he had all the right answers for the Bible and God. See, I will propose to you that these are not weak women that joined these. These were women who had not found the answers to eternality, to hope, to meaning, to purpose, and kept looking. And they were taken advantage of. Sad story I heard once. Ran into a girl here in Clearwater, Safety Harbor actually. I was telling her about what I do to pastoring at the time. And she listened politely, and then she said, it's like, she almost dismissed me. She did dismiss me, but then she said she was a youth group leader. And she was at a church, didn't tell me which one, doesn't matter, where she was a youth group leader, had a pastor, and one day the pastor just left the youth, so she led a youth group for, I don't know, it sounds like a year, number of months anyway, until I could find a new youth pastor. And during this time, a reporter called her and asked if she had any comment, knew this youth pastor, who she did, and had any comment on the charges brought against him. Find out that he went to another church up in Georgia to be a youth pastor and took advantage of some teenage girls up there. Come to find out that those accusations were here at the church she served at, where he was a youth pastor. She was serving under him. And he was asked to leave because senior staff found out about this. But instead of reporting it, they made him go away from their church. And he did the same thing there that he did at this church. And it was horrible. It ruined her faith in church leadership. I would dare say God. And these people were not weak-willed. They were taken advantage of by malicious, evil people. Last week, when I was talking about the end times, there was a passage that I read, 2 Timothy 3, and this starts in verse 6. They, being false teachers, being people who have a form of godliness, but deny God's power, who use religion to take advantage of others, who were cultic figures. And it says in verse 6, they are the kind who worm their way into homes and gain control over weak-willed women. Other interpretations will say silly women, weak women, and some have thought this an indictment against all women by Paul and by the Bible. It is not. It is not. It is women who came out of some terrible religiously abusive situations that were drawn to Paul's messages and that were easily manipulated by other charlatans and religious purveyors. Much like NXIVM, much like Heaven's Gate, much like these other cults that are so prominent in have been prominent in the news. These weren't weak women, but they were searching and they were easily manipulated by these religious charlatans. That's who Paul's talking about. Women who were searching and others took advantage of them. Definitely not all women, just like it's not all men, are abusers. All women are not weak-willed. It was a specific group who wormed their way with their poisonous message into their lives and into their homes to take advantage of them. What will we see in the last days? This. So I did say I wanted to talk about this, what was meant by weak-willed women, and that this is not an indictment on all women. A sign of the times is when cults and groups like Keith Raniere and NXIVM and others that take advantage of people trying to find hope and assurance and purpose in this life and eternality. David Koresh, that's what I was thinking of, David Koresh. That take advantage. This is what we will see as the end times approach. So, I hope this explains. The furthest thing from Paul is that he indicted all women or saw them as second class. I mean, good gosh, he started house churches with women. He learned from women, a subset of people that will take advantage. And we continue to see it today. And sad to say, as the end times get closer, we'll see it more. So, if there's a warning out there, beware. For those who are searching, men, women, boys, girls, I don't care. Find the truth. Talk to pastors who you trust. Talk to teachers who will not lead you astray. Talk to me. One of the reasons why I like questions is to help prevent what happened at this time, what continues today, and what will even grow as that day, as we say in church, as that day grows closer. Don't get led astray. That's what Paul's saying. He definitely does not speak to all women. He actually lifts up women. And maybe one day, I did have a question about that once. Maybe I'll talk about that. Paul's and God's position on the equality of women. All right, I hope this makes sense, and I hope it is clear that this is not an indictment on women. So, if you ever hear that, and people use this passage, women are weak-willed, have nothing to do with them, as the Bible says, because it is not true, because that is not what God says. All right? Hey, I hope you have a great rest of the Wednesday. It's always a great time to come and talk to you. Next week, it's not a question, it's still a follow-up to this, because I talked about the end times. I said that I am a pre-mill, pre-trib Christian. And what does this mean? And does it mean that anyone who doesn't believe like me is wrong? No. But I'll tell you what that means and why I am pre-mill and pre-trib. Next week. Remember, let others know on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at FL Compass Church, and online, www.flcompasschurch.org. Have a wonderful day wherever you're at, and we will see you Saturday. Be blessed.